This is our last session. Oh my God, like time flew. I cannot believe that this is the last session already. And for tonight's session, like buckle your seatbelt because you're going to learn a lot. Olivia from Canine Connect has prepared a wonderful presentation about canine body language. And I'm telling you, you really don't want to miss this because you're going to learn so much. How are you, Olivia?
I'm good. Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you for having us here tonight, and good evening, everybody.
Yay. Okay, shall we start? So, as I said, Olivia prepared a lovely presentation. I'm just going to play it for you. Now, there you go.
Welcome to tonight's presentation on dog body language. We're very happy that you decided to join us on a topic that we believe underpins every interaction and subsequent outcome we have with our dogs. So a quick intro into who we are, because I'll be talking to you for a little while. My name is Olivia, and you would have met Clodagh, who presented earlier in the week on canine enrichment. Together we are Canine Connect here in our beautiful County Cork. We consider ourselves a team of positive reinforcement trainers, basically showing people ways that they can handle their dogs that are enjoyable for both parties. So as I said, tonight's presentation is on dog body language. To teach your dog, you need to first speak their language. So a little warning here, if this is your first intro into dog body language and the subtleties of canine communication, your life may never be the same. You will see dogs everywhere you go, trying to communicate and being ignored. This knowledge will hopefully change your experience of their world. There is something else that I would like you to consider as we explore this presentation tonight. A dog will always learn to do what works for them. So behavior gets the consequence it wants. I want you to remember that as we explore this presentation. So do you fancy yourself as a Dr. Dolittle? I know we all did probably as children. Well, if you're as old as I did and remember it. So most dogs owners will recognize when their dog is sad or fearful or happy. However, dog body language can be subtle, ranging from a glance to a tensing of muscles or a slight shift in a dog's posture to something more obvious, such as a play bow, a growl, or a bark. Misinterpreting these signals may lead to misunderstandings and, sadly, in some cases, even dog bites. Anthropomorphism is the representation of human characteristics to non-human objects or beings. We as humans attempt to process dogs' facial and body expressions in the same way we would with humans. But in the scientific world, we've evaluated that dogs are not capable of guilt, contempt, or regret. These are human emotions beyond a dog's mental capabilities, and anthropomorphizing dogs in this way really is not helpful. So when you go home and you video your dog after chewing the sofa or upending a plant pot and you think they have their guilty look on their face because they know what they did, this is simply not true. In all likelihood, it's because they are fearing your response that seems a little angry at the damage that was caused in the home. And by doing this, we only set the dog up to fail, and it leads to confusion and fear for the dog. It's not all entirely unhelpful. We naturally know when our dogs are happy, sad, or afraid because we're able to recognize these emotions in ourselves. So that is a good thing. So which of these dogs helps most, or which of these helps most in understanding dog body language? Owning a dog, studying dogs, or working with dogs. In 2009, Tammy et al. Carried out some research to determine our ability to interpret dog body language. The study comprised of those three groups: those owning dogs, studying dogs, and working with dogs. They were asked to classify the behavior of 9 dogs, shown in different video clips through the use of adjectives such as friendly and aggressive. The results suggested that those working with dogs had the best theoretical knowledge of canine behavior, and that those working with dogs and owning dogs fell far below the mark of what was an acceptable level of understanding canine body language. So canine body language is communicative behavior. To learn to train, we do need to learn to speak their language. While many of us talk to our dogs, we are not so competent at listening, but we can learn to listen with our eyes. The more we know about early communication signals, the better we can understand our dogs. I'm sure nobody likes to be ignored or to have a one-sided conversation. This is invariably where humans and dogs alike use more overt behaviours to be heard. I'm sure if you're ever sitting down having lunch with a colleague and you had something to add to the conversation, but they refused to listen to you and they were talking over you, initially you might sit there and take it and get more and more angry underneath. You might pick up your phone, start flicking through your phone and your social media, start glancing around the room to see if there's any other colleagues. And eventually, if you're not listened to and not being heard, you're going to get up and walk away, or you may even have an outburst at that colleague. The same is true for our dogs. Communication, simply put, is a two-way conversation based on how each individual feels and what information they want to share. So here we have a little grid of the dogs, how humans interpret the dogs, and I suppose looking at the dog's behavior and what the actions were at the time. So if we just look at the first section here, we can see bites happen out of nowhere. This is generally the human's interpretation of the dog, but that's simply not true. That can translate into the humans can't read stress behaviors, because a dog's body language will usually change in at least some notable way before they become aggressive. They can focus on a trigger, showing signs that they're worried. They may offer calming signals. They may change their posture. They may throw a growl or flash their teeth. They may briefly freeze. And if they can't leave or the trigger isn't removed, the dog is at severe risk of biting. So dogs are often labelled dominant, again by humans, if they feel they're being stubborn or they're throwing their weight around or they just won't do what they're asking them to do. Humans tend to label dogs dominant. But what's really going on is that the humans are not listening to dog communication. So you often hear phrases of be seen as your dog's pack leader, be the boss. These theories have long since been debunked by the scientific community. So there's no longer any reason to believe that dogs are trying to be dominant or achieve a higher social status over us. Dogs develop anxiety disorders. Dogs do develop anxiety disorders only because they're not listened to time and time again. So humans tend to view everything as excitement. One of the examples of this is a dog jumping up on their owners, their family, and unfamiliar people and unfamiliar animals. So they're jumping up on everybody. This is often a dog that's seeking information, but not necessarily contact. And in human equivalents of that, you may be chatting to someone and they might have a nervous laugh. And you're questioning yourself, what are they laughing at? I didn't say anything funny. But this is just a self-coping mechanism for the humans. Dogs do the same thing. We call it an autonomic nervous system response, where they're jumping up on familiar people and they're equally jumping up the same way on unfamiliar people. That's just something to bear in mind. You train your dog to speak. By listening, you reinforce their communication. By ignoring it, you are punishing them and teaching them to shout a little bit louder. So the big question here is, are you training your dog to be reactive? You need to be sharp-eyed to recognize early signs of discomfort in your dog. And if we ignore these early stress signals, we're effectively punishing them. And we do know, in scientific terms, punishment decreases behavior. So if the dog learns to stop, they will automatically jump to the next rung on the ladder. And this is when we see those whispers become screams. Okay, so we all instinctively know when our dogs are happy and content, but do we know what this looks like in terms of body language? So we're going to characterize those behaviors in the following traits. The first ones we're going to look at are all the traits that show I'm a happy dog. Floppy tongue. A big floppy tongue tells us our dog isn't holding any tension in the mouth. The goofier the smile, the better. An open-mouthed, smiley dog with no hard tenseness around the jawline and facial muscles. This is a happy dog. A floppy tongue means that a dog is happy, relaxed, and content. So this is a dog in this photo that is very happy in their environment. So here in this video, we can see a wide open mouth, a loose floppy tongue. So again, this is another happy dog in their environment. A swooshy tail. Contrary to popular belief, not all wags are created equal. However, a loose, swooshing tail is a good indicator that your dog is relaxed and happy. So a dog's tail tells us much about how it feels, but it's important to remember all dogs have a neutral tail position. So what I would suggest is get familiar with what is a neutral tail position for your dogs. A loose, swooshing tail with broad strokes is a happy tail. So let's look at the video for that. Here we can see a low hanging loose, swooshy tail, nice even broad stroke movements. Soft eyes. Softness around the eyes refers to a lack of tension. A dog that isn't hyper-focused on any one thing in their environment, but they're simply watching and observing casually. So again, we will see continuous frequent blinks with nice, round, soft almond eyes. So got some nice blinking going on there. Nice, closed, soft eyes. I feel awkward. Every internal stress reaction begins with emotional discomfort. It is at the very point that the internal state begins to change that we clearly see the signs of emotional discomfort in our dogs. So we've always often heard that feeling in our gut. Oh, I felt that in my gut. It's the same for dogs. The enteric nervous system affects the brain. So again, it's the internal state that begins to change, and we see the outward signs of that in our dogs. The emotional discomfort in our dog presents as outward signals. So the following images and descriptions begin subtle and become more overt. So I think we can all relate to that feeling when someone asks us if we're okay and we're not really, but we try to hide it. So first signal we're going to look at, the first sign, is yawning. So context is important here. It's not yawning when we just wake up from sleep or when we're feeling really tired. It can happen in social context. Yawning is a subtle sign the dog is beginning to feel uncomfortable. Again, no one knows the scientific reason for a yawn, for dogs or for people, but we do know when it happens. It is through tiredness or anxiety. If a dog yawns in a place where he is relaxing or around sleeping, then that would be normal. But if he was yawning out of context of that, then it could be a sign of an onset of stress. Here we can see the dog yawn, big shallow yawn, closed mouth, bit of panting going on, ears move back, a bit of tension around the face there. So itching or scratching. Itching or scratching is a good example of a displacement behavior for our dogs. It is a normal, scratching is a normal behavior that happens out of context. So for humans, if we feel a bug on our arm, you reach up and scratch it, which relieves that physical discomfort. So it has a function. But if you're trying to decide which direction to turn on a road, or for me, which Easter egg at the moment to get on the shelf, or if you're in a tense social situation, then there is nothing to itch or scratch, yet we still do so. So scratching here for dogs is happening in a place or situation that doesn't make sense. So Lorenz describes them as motor patterns which discharge tension. So again, it's our dogs trying to discharge that tension that they're just feeling in our body. So again, I would scan the environment and look to see what is making your dog feel uncomfortable. Again, we can see a dog just walking in the grass, starting to scratch, looking to its owner, head turning away. Sniffing. So if your dog suddenly sniffs something, it can be a sign of stress. If your dog is sniffing the ground like someone has dropped the most wonderful scent onto it, it is a common displacement act. So again, this is out of context and it's something that isn't considered the norm. So if I threw a load of treats in the grass and my dog went sniffing, that would be the norm. But if I'm standing on concrete chatting to a friend and all of a sudden my dog goes into overdrive of sniffing on the ground at my feet, then I could consider that a displacement behavior. Where I see an example of this may be in training sometimes. When you're trying to teach your dog something new, they may sniff the ground and glance back at you occasionally, kind of hoping that you're going to change the subject. So if that happens, I would reassess and ask yourself if you're asking more of your dog than they're actually capable of offering at that point in time. So here we can see the black dog trying to move away, sniffing the ground, sniffing again, being pestered by the other dog, again goes back into sniffing, again sniffing again. Then he just moves away as the brown and white dog gets distracted. So shake-offs, I think this is one that we're probably most familiar with as humans. So dogs shake their whole body to release tension that's being held in the muscles after an awkward encounter. So if the trigger goes away or a stressful experience ends in good time, the dog may shake off the stress that they've experienced, much like they would shake off after coming out of water. So they may also shake off during a meeting or an interaction with a person, with a dog, or another trigger to lower elevating stress responses and to keep themselves calm. So here we can see a dog doing a full body shake off from nose to tail. Again, maybe the camera angle is causing him some stretches there, and he just turns to walk off. Face licking, often seen as a displacement behavior when the dog is trying to break that awkward situation. Again, it's one where dogs will lick our faces or other dogs' faces when they think an interaction is not going well or they're a little bit uncomfortable with it. Again, dogs don't kiss each other in the wild. They probably have learned to kiss our faces when they were very young, or what we perceive as kissing our faces when they were very young, when they were feeling something uncomfortable or something that worried them about a situation. Maybe we were too close to their face, they were being overhandled, but it has got reinforced some way along the line. But it didn't always start out that way. It started out that way with, ooh, this is a little uncomfortable here for me, so I'm going to lick you and you're going to move back out of my face. So let's look at our video for that one. Here we have a child up in a dog's face. So this dog shows really, really good social skills. And you can see he takes his tongue out to lick the child's face, what we call a kiss to dismiss, and the child moves back Yeah, so this dog is really, really, really good family dog. Humping. It's not all about sexual urges. Often this happens after something stressful and is our dog's way of trying to self-regulate. So stress mounting is often seen in dogs who are over-aroused by a situation, and it can be a releasing behavior that once learned can become compulsive. This is one I try and interrupt early, but gently. Again, here we can see the dog on its bed, really, stress biting, humping, just really looking for that release there from tension. Okay, so we're really escalating up the ladder here. Here we're into the section of now I'm worried. Okay, now I'm worried. What am I going to do about it? Okay, so think dogs only growl or bark to communicate fear, then think again. There are plenty of subtle stress signals further down on the scale before we get up to the barking and growling. So we have a useful visual coming up created by Dr. Kendall Shepherd, and that is the ladder of communication. Dr. Kendall Shepherd is a veterinarian and animal behaviourist, and she devised the ladder of communication as a vital concept to debunking the dominant and guilty dog myth. Okay, so here's our interpretation of Dr. Kendall's communication ladder. So on the bottom rung, we have those lower level stress signals where we have yawning, lip lipping, panting, head turning, brow furrow, body turn, paw lift, walking away. Higher up on those, we have ears back, whale-eye, crouching, tail tucked, lying down, leg up, stiffening, growling, ear snapping, and biting. And I'm going to say it again, we need to learn to listen with our eyes. Again, when we adhere to those early subtle stress signals, the dogs don't need to escalate up the ladder to more extreme communication. Lip licking. Just like us, dogs often lick their lips when they feel uncomfortable. So licking his nose and lips is a telling sign that dogs feel uncomfortable. It may be subtle to begin with, but the longer the situation goes on, the more overt the licking becomes. A big, slow, wide tongue tells us the dog is feeling pretty uncomfortable. I think this is one that we often see if we look back at images on our phones that we may have taken of our dogs or other dogs. You'll often catch a tongue flick in some of those photos where the dog is going or starting to say, look, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. You have that camera in my face. It's making me a little bit worried. So I urge you all to go back and look at some of the photos you've taken of your dogs on your phones and see if there are some of the more obvious ones like this lip licking there on your photos. Here we can see this beautiful spaniel. Starts off kind of subtle, but gets more and more intense the longer they're kept in that situation. Head turns. Head turns is a subtle way of trying to end an interaction. Often this happens very quickly and can even be offered a few times by our own dogs. So head turns, it's glancing away from a trigger and then back again. So it is a sign that our dog has become a bit worried. A glance away is literally a polite sign that a dog does not want to interact. It's a subtle sign that people often miss, sometimes even when they're walking down a footpath and they reach out to pat a dog on the head, and a dog will head turn away to do a cut-off signal from them. Here we can see a dog in the groomer's head turning away from the groomer. Again, that open-mouthed, shut-up hand, closed mouth, and a bit of lipping there again, and closed eyes. Body turns. So this is usually the next step if you're not listening, is for your dog to turn their body away. It's a real clear cut-off signal of saying, look, I don't want to talk to you right now. And turning away from a trigger is associated with a non-confrontation. This is the ultimate gesture of peace. as it makes them quite vulnerable. So a dog that is confident enough to fight or show aggression will not usually turn away, as it puts them in a vulnerable position, and it gives the other dog a show of strength. So that's something to bear in mind. So here we can see the dog on the ground, his head turned away from the younger pup coming in. Dog gets up to walk away, his mouth is closed, a bit of tension there. Pup is not reading the signals at all. The older dog gets up to walk away. Again, struggling a little bit, but manages to walk away. Now, I believe if that pup continued to to chase after him, then that would escalate through their paws. But it's also a sign that they're becoming worried, and it's important to ask yourself why. What in the environment is causing my dog concern? What is causing them to be stressed? So panting escalates directly parallel to the level of stress your dog is feeling. So I want you to bear that one in mind. Here we can see a Great Bernese, just panting in the groomers. So I would think there's a bit of stress there for that dog in the groomers. Brow furrowing. Tension in the face usually looks like brow furrowing or wrinkles appearing in the forehead. I think we might all recognize this if our dog is worried when they have a little furrowed brow. So we know that our facial expressions can show relaxation or tension. Just like the human's face can, dogs can do the same thing. So a dog that is tense will show a harder facial expression. It'll move between a relaxed face and a tense one, and can be subtle or quick depending on the trigger or how severe it is. So watch out for those brow furrowings. Again, we can see it here, tension on either side of the cheekbones here for the dog. Mouth is closed tight. Ears are up and alert. So whale-eye describes the white of the dog's eyes showing when the animal is either stressed or threatened. And that effect is caused by facial tension, the muscles in the face becoming so tense that the whites of the eyes are shown. We often see this in resource guard cases. So where the head is pointing one way and the eyes are looking the other way, and you can see the white of the eye. Again, here's a dog doing an eye, head is staying one direction, doing the eye flick over to the area that's causing him some concern. Here's back. So when a dog is scared, they'll often pull their ears towards the back of their head. The further back the ears go, the more fearful they are. Some will actually lay flat and seem to disappear, and that position is known as seal ears. Dogs will often have other signs of, along with those pinned back ears, they might have some dilated pupils as well. So again, ears back. This is often done to help the dog listen out behind them or to listen out for an escape route. Here we can see the ears almost flat back here of this dog, but vacillating forward and then going back, and you can see the shiver and the closed mouth. So laying down. In actuality, the dog is exposing their vulnerable parts to make it clear they don't want to fight. This is an extremely vulnerable position for a worried dog and is used as an appeasement gesture. This is to avoid confrontation of any kind. So the dog in this picture is showing many signs of discomfort. We have a paw lift, a tongue flick, head turn, ear back, dilated pupils, and lots of facial attention. So again, I suppose this is one, again, as humans, where we find difficult to understand if this would be a stress signal, because most of us, when we have our puppies, they lay on the back, they roll over, and we give them nice big belly rubs. And we say, oh, look, she's rolling over there. She'd love a belly rub. She loves her belly rubbed. Again, this is a subtle stress signal that is now 3/4 way up the.
Okay. So I just had to pause this because I think we have a bit of a technical glitch here where the audio doesn't fit the image anymore. So I'm just gonna move forward and we'll just talk you through what happened. So Olivia, do you remember where we were?
I think we're just going to go back to the laying down.
Okay.
And I can talk through the rest of it, Geraldine.
Okay, so you want to go back?
Yeah, we can go through back to the laying down one.
Okay. Okay.
And we can
painting. Is this one?
look a bit forward, I think, of just the dog upturned.
Okay.
So forward again.
Okay.
And again.
After panting, yeah.
After panting and brow furring again. I think there may be one more waylight, and after that one.
Okay, so I have ears back.
Okay, this one.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I just play the slides and I just remove the audio. I think it's better.
Perfect. Okay, so everyone, this is one where I find humans mostly misunderstand. So this is a dog that lays on their back and they expose their vulnerable parts to make it clear that they don't want to fight, that they feel threatened, and it's just to avoid conflict. So what happens when the dog does this? You will often get the human say, oh, look, they just want a belly rub. Okay, give their belly a nice rub. So what the dog is really saying is, I feel really vulnerable here. Please step away and let me get up. Unfortunately, humans bend down, they give the tummy a rub, and the dog goes really still. So what you can see here in this picture is a really nice example. So you've got a stiff dog, you've got a paw lift, you've got licking lips, you've got the head turn away, and you can see the dog here in the video is quite stiff as well. The paw is lifted, the mouth is open, quite tense there, again licking the lips, stress around the face, a really tight face. So when the human stops here, the dog gets up and walks away. So we're escalating way up now on that escalation ladder. So hackle raising. So this is a physiological response, and this happens due to the muscles below the skin flexing due to adrenaline release. Okay, so this is a real tense situation, and I would want to be getting ahead of this and separating dogs before this happens, because it usually escalates up into a fight after this. This is a dog preparing for their fight or flight. Okay, so a good physiological response. Here we can see two dogs on a beach, both hackles raised. So the white dog shakes off, relaxes, walks away. We can see the red dog shakes off, but the hackles still haven't quite gone back to normal. So a bit slower to recover for that red dog there. And that's a dog that I would be mindful could be trigger stacked for the rest of the day. So lip curling. So this is a really clear piece of body language for us humans. Our dog exerts a lot of effort to hold that back. So what the dog is saying here is that these are my weapons of choice, my teeth. I'm not afraid to use them. Back up, give me distance. We generally might see this in a resource guarding case where the dog is asking for distance because they have something that's really valuable for them, or when they're really fearful, they'll also show teeth towards the trigger that's causing them distress. This would also escalate right up into a bite if the human isn't listening. So here in the video, we have a dog head turning away, doesn't want that conflict, is showing the teeth as the last resort. The human is obviously quite close to their space. So the dog is giving clear communication signals, just step back out of my space. Real tension in the face here. And the dog is doing everything possible not to have to engage in this next action. Barking and growling. So this is when people listen. Okay. This is when people go, whoa, my dog just barked or growled. So this is really reinforcing for the dog when you do that. However, what I would say is we never punish the growl. The Punishing the growl is equivalent to taking the batteries out of your smoke alarm. I'm always listening if my dog is growling. I love a dog that growls because it's like sounding the siren to tell me that something is wrong. Okay. I'm going to change something about that. I'm either going to remove my dog from the environment or remove the trigger from my dog. So I'm always listening when it gets to the stage that my dog is growling. I hopefully never get there, but if it does happen, I am listening. It is something I'm nearly rewarding at this stage. It's good to hear a dog growl because your last warning before the bite. So we should have a video after this.
Hold on. Maybe I move forward if I can. Can I? Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, yeah. So
Okay.
no bother.
Hold on. I'm not sure exactly what time it comes on.
Yeah.
It will come on.
So in the next video, we have a dog that clearly sees the target. You can see they're barking. Their eyes are focused on the target. There's a bit of growling going on. The ears are forward. The body is forward. So it's likely that if a person decreases space, then the next thing is a bite. So ear snaps. So the hard truth here is that if a dog wanted to bite you, you'd be bitten. Some dogs will bite the ear as one final warning before they make contact. Okay, we'll often hear people say, oh, I dodged that one there, or oh, I got out of time, or got out of the way just in time before a bite. That's very, very unlikely. A dog, if they want to make contact, they will make contact. Okay, so that is a clear warning. Again, that is a dog doing their very best to avoid conflict, waiting for you to step out of their space. So here we have two dogs interacting. You can see just a brief freeze there before the dog moves in to give an ear snap to the other dog. Again, that's teeth on skin, but no puncture wounds. Okay, so there's a clear warning to the other dog. So here's a dog that wasn't listening. It's likely over the stick on the ground. Here we have three dogs. Again, you can see each one snapping at the other in turn, but not actual puncture wounds. We have the dog in the middle here just doing a full body shake off to relieve some of that muscle tension. Again, here we have a dog that we saw earlier on in the video. So the brown and white dog isn't listening. So the black and white dog has escalated up to now, ear snapping towards the other dog to get him to leave him alone and back up and move away. Okay, so what do we do if we see these signs? So we do one of two things. We either remove our dog from the trigger that is causing this situation for them, that is causing the stress, or we remove the trigger from our dog's environment. So we either remove the trigger that's causing the stress, or we remove the dog from the environment. So these are all distance increasing behaviors, meaning that we back up, we give our dog space, and we let them de-stress.
Should I move forward? Maybe.
Yeah, I think should move there now. Stuck?
It's not stuck. It's just running. I don't know when it's changing. I'll already say, yeah, people, if you have any question, you can start writing them in the comments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we'll answer them. There you go. It's moving now.
Okay. Right. Okay, so 3 is the magic number here. So we're always taking these subtle signs into account, but we're taking the context into account as well. So where are these subtle signs occurring? Okay, is your dog licking the lips after a tasty meal, Or is he licking his lips as you walk down the road and there's another dog walking into his space? So we're always looking for 3 signals. So let's take a look at these videos here and see if you can see 3 subtle signals that would tell you this dog is feeling a little worried about this interaction. So you can see he moves away, he head turns again, he's looking towards the dog, he head turns, he walks away, the ears are back, and he seeks out his owner. Again, we have a shepherd here in the groomers. So we have a little bit of head turning, the ears are back, see some licking of the lips, white of the eyes, tense face. So that tells us this shepherd is feeling uncomfortable. Again, looking for 3 signals. Here we have a dog with a child, really stiff body language, really not seeking that interaction with the child, head turning, tight mouth, tight tension, and the ears vacillating back, tail tucked between the leg. Again, we have this lovely King Charles here sitting on the lap of the owner. So a little bit of yawning, attempts to get down and move away. The owner puts him back on her lap. Again, there's a bit of panting going on there, licking the lips, and a lot of blinking going on again. So this dog is just seeking to move away, but not being allowed to do so. So dogs do speak, but only to those who know how to listen. So that's Oran Pamuk. So what I would say is that we need to learn to listen with our eyes. Okay, so I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to the presentation tonight, and to Geraldine for inviting us on to speak on canine body language. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Absolutely. And sorry for the bit of a technical glitch there.
No, I'm sure it's on my end, Geraldine.
No, but I meant
I can get the presentation uploaded anyway for anyone who wants to watch back.
yeah, maybe it's a part because it was
Yes.
it was a bit out of sync, and it was a bit yeah. Except if you want to go over it again.
Yeah, I can of course at some stage.
If anybody has any question about body language or any specific case that you wonder about, fire away. We're here. We're here, and we're waiting. So at the moment, I don't see any.
And of course, this is just but a snapshot of canine body language. You can have a whole encyclopedia of canine body language. So what we're getting is just some of the familiar things here that we would see on a day-to-day basis with our pet dogs in the homes. So we just honed in on those, subtle but clear signals from our dogs once we understand them.
Yeah, the lip licking is a massive one. I mean,
yes, and yawning. I find yawning is one of those ones as well that we see quite a lot. Head turning. I see head turning a lot when people are standing chatting with their dogs, and you'll see a dog on lead next to the owner's leg, and it's doing a lot of head turning because it's finding that social interaction quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. And what about the licking the face? Is it always a stress?
No, so the licking the face is one of those ones that it's hard for us to digest as humans, because we kiss our dogs all the time, and we pick up our puppies and we kiss them. So puppies do this to their mothers in the wild to help them regurgitate their food. And we know that they also do it to seek attention. But in the human hands, that's not what that happens, because we have to take into context, if we look at a dog that is licking a human's face, it's generally from a lowered down angle, and the chin is up and the lick is going up into the face. So if you take into context the whole of the dog's body language, and also take into context the human's body language. So the human gives that flinch response. It's an involuntary flinch response. They often close their eyes. Okay, they're often pulling back. I often wonder what dogs think of this when we do this, but I think it is getting the desired result. It can be reinforced over time and seen as infection and seen as a way to get attention. Okay, you're not listening to me. I need to go to the toilet, and end up licking the face. But it never starts out that way. It would have always started out as a puppy with, I feel a little uncomfortable here, and it gets reinforced over time.
Okay.
It's a tough one for us as humans to kind of go, oh God, my dog is licking my face. Maybe they're feeling a bit uncomfortable about the interaction. That's not how we view things as humans. And as I said, we're very much, kissing on the face or kissing on the head. We do it to our children, we do it to our partners, and we do it to our dogs as well.
Yeah, true. Oh, do I have? Oh yeah, we do have anything. Thank you. Can you there you go. Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. Can you recommend any books or other sources to learn more about body language?
Absolutely. I will put a whole list of books for you in the chat later. Okay.
Right. And I suppose well, the famous one probably is Turid Regas, obviously, but yeah.
Oh yes, Turig Rugas
and the
Calming Signals. I like that one. I have Canine Behavior there by Barbara Handelman. I have Canine Body Language by Brenda Aloff. Of course, Lily Chin's Doggy Language. We have who else have I got here? Would be quite nice. Would be Sally Guttridge, Canine Communication. That's an actual nice one. And Suzanne Clothier has one which I really like. It's limited now to try and get your hands on that one. So there's some really lovely books out there on canine body language.
Yeah, but Lily Chin, the graphics are absolutely.
Yeah, and Lily Chin is a nice, fairly simplistic one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have another one. Is eye contact very important to communicate with our dogs, or do they see that as challenging?
So direct, and that's a nice question. So direct eye contact can be challenging for the dogs. Okay, a direct stare. That now there is studies done that show that directly looking to the eyes of their owner, there is affection and love there, and they do seek comfort from it, and it does release oxytocin to our dogs. Okay. But direct eye contact from strangers or from children, dogs can find that unsettling, as they can with the lens of the back of a camera. That can be quite unsettling. If you go back and even look at some of the photos you may have taken of your dog on your phone, you might see in some of those photos there is a subtle lick lip. Okay, that may be the lens of the phone in your dog's face, and they kind of find it quite unsettling. So the lens is similar to the eye contact. Again, direct eye contact can pose as a challenge to your dog.
Yeah, I have them a lot, the lip licking, if I try to take a picture.
Yeah, and it's good to notice. I think if you look back on those photos, you will see, okay, there was a subtle lick lip there, or they were a little feeling uncomfortable there.
Yeah, so, yeah, absolutely. Especially with nervous dog, like never approach a nervous dog that you don't know, like staring at them. No.
With the nervous dogs, I'm always doing a treat retreat.
Yeah.
That's my protocol for a nervous dog.
Yeah. And that's a thing actually that people may not know, but you can actually use the same calming signal that dogs use with them. So if you come across a dog that is either nervous or like aggressive, the best thing is actually to do what a dog would do, is actually turning away, sitting,
yawning.
Yawning is a good one. Yeah.
You just have to inform your clients that you were yawning because you're, doing calming signals to the dog, and not because you're being rude in a consult. So yeah, that's one to watch out for.
Yeah.
So the blinking, the head turning, the yawning is really, really good, and I've used that quite a lot with dogs. So use what the dog is giving you, use their body language as calming signals back to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sniffing, because sniffing is a big one as well. Like if you come across in walk, and if there's a dog that coming towards you and you're with your dog, and they come, you can actually drop treats on the ground for your dog, to sniff, because then it will give the message to the other dog, oh, this other dog is not a threat, so that's actually okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know from scientific research that sniffing lowers the heart rate and it lowers cortisol in the system. So we would always say to dog, licking, sniffing, chewing, all calming behaviors for our dogs. See if you can incorporate one of those in when a dog is stressed.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we have any other question? I'll try to see if I can find those. What's her name? Lily Chin.
I have the book, is it?
Just the small, because I know.
It's doggy language.
Yeah.
DOGGIE language. So that's Lily Chin. I can put some of those in there.
No, but some drawings. There you go. Yeah, I have them here. Now, can I put that in the thingy? I probably can. Touch. Yeah. Yeah, there's this one. How do I tap that in? Now, where are we? Here we go. Do you put one as well?
Okay.
Yeah. You post some as well?
No, I can put some in.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. No, I just posted the drawing there by Lily Chin, one of them. But yes, it's probably a lot. Yeah.
Her little pocketbook is very nice and handy, especially for owners, because it's nice and simple without going too deep into things.
Yeah. Any other question, people? Otherwise, it will be goodbye, which is weird because I've been there 4 days and I can really enjoy that. And I want to say thank you for everybody who tuned in. Really, really enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll make this a yearly thing. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. And because I really, really, really enjoyed it. And if you watch this on replay and you have any question about things you hear, just don't hesitate to drop me an email or put a comment on there, and we'll get back to you. And you can still answer your question, ask your question, and we will answer them. That's the way we do it.
Absolutely.
And Olivia, I will also send you tomorrow by email the ladder of school. I cannot even.
The ladder of communication.
Yeah, there you go. Of course, it's a ladder of escalation.
And it is an escalation ladder. It is at this stage.
Yeah. So that you can keep an eye on that and be aware of it. And
I would say to everybody, Geraldine, start rewarding your dogs for those lower level subtle stress signals. Start rewarding for the lipping, the head turns, the yawning. Mark it and reward it. We want to really reinforce those behaviors, and that tells your dog, look, I'm listening to you. You don't need to escalate up. I am listening to you. I'm going to change something about the situation so that you can get back to a normal state and not be worried about this. But if we start reinforcing those lower level stress signals, you won't find yourself up there with a dog that's barking and growling.
Yeah, because that's what we want to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now that you know, I'm sure you will be more aware, and you'll probably see like hundreds of them per day. Maybe not hundreds, hopefully.
When you're driving along your car, you will see a lot.
Yeah, be like, oh my god. Now, don't always think that your dog is uncomfortable either. You don't want to fall into the other extreme. They may be tired if they yawn. Don't start to think, oh, stress. No, not always, but yeah, just remember it.
Yeah, and as I said, if you're listening to the lower level stuff, you know, you're not going to be up there with a reactive dog that's, you know, barking and lunging at the end of the lead to other dogs or people. So, you know, the earlier we get it, the earlier we pay close attention to those signals. Again, context is key here. Keep watching out and saying, okay, I'm not just seeing one stress signal. Okay, he did a lick lip, he head turned, he did a quick yawn. Okay, something's going on here for my dog. What's going on in the environment that may be causing him a little bit of worry, a little bit of concern? Can I back up? Can I give him space? Can I ask him to sniff the ground? So it's just about having an awareness. Again, looking for those lower level stress signals so we don't end up in an escalated state.
Absolutely. I have another comment. Thank you. Very interesting.
Welcome.
It takes time and close attention to understand our dog's body language. Yeah, but once you're aware of it, you will see more of it.
Absolutely. Once you start listening and use your eyes to listen, you will start picking it up so much easier once you're aware of it. And you will develop a better relationship and a better bond with your dog.
Absolutely.
And communication's a two-way street. So yeah, we do need to listen.
Absolutely.
And listen accurately. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, should we just wrap it up then? Last chance for you question, and otherwise we'll wrap it up soon. Don't forget to send your war egg challenge, please, because you don't do enough of that, and it's really cool and it's really funny. So please do it, and we will have a prize. I'm not going to say what it is, but we will have a prize, and yeah, I extended to Monday so that you can do that over the weekend, just in case you don't have the eggs, you don't have the time, you didn't watch the session again, and you have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about. But if you don't, actually, it's very simple. It's just about giving a raw egg to your dog. You give it like that, full, complete, in the shell. You just take it out of the fridge. You give it to your dog. Only if you never did it before, because otherwise it's too easy. And you just video your dog's reaction and how long they take it to crack it open, if they're scared of it, if they first play with it, if they, whatever they do, and you just film it until the end and see if they eat it all, because an egg is actually very, very good and for your dog. And if you're wondering why, you can go back to day 2, Wednesday session by Holistic Hound, which was full of information, and you go back to it. But please do the challenge, because I've seen some very funny reaction there, and so yeah.
Geraldine, I may try this one myself. I have a dog who likes boiled eggs. You know, we cook the eggs, but not with a raw egg. I haven't done this, and I might be tempted to do this, but I'm wondering, am I going to be cleaning up an awful mess?
You know what I was worried about, because my dog Paddy, I don't know if he had one. He probably didn't, but I did it today. I don't know if you saw it in the group.
No, I didn't see it yet.
He literally, when I gave him, he was like, because he's a resource guarder, so he likes to go and eat things in his own room when he knows that no annoying brother is around and try to take his stuff. So first I had put him in the kitchen and put him away of the brothers, but he was like, I want to take that to my room. So I opened the door, and then I was like, I didn't want to, because I knew there was a bed there, and I was like, he's going to go on the bed and make a mess of the bed. But I was like, okay, whatever, we'll do it. But he's so precious and actually delicate when he eats his food. It actually took him 15 minutes, but there was no mess at all, because he just did the small awl and he went in the tongue. He didn't make a mess at all, but it took 15 minutes.
It's an excellent challenge. I'm actually, I think I may do it in the morning and record Cooper, who may just swallow that egg whole. So...
But yeah.
He doesn't mince around with his food. He just, that's it. It's done. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, all my dogs were pretty quick, except Paddy wasn't, and yeah, it's funny. But so some of them, they first take it. Bruce was kind of scared of it initially, which was very funny because he was like, "What are you giving?" And normally he's the first one to swallow everything and anything.
Okay.
And he was like, "Huh?" And then he walked around the kitchen and he was like, "What do you want me to do with this?" But eventually, then he understood, oh, that's food. Okay. And and then he cracked it open and they all ate the shell except Paddy didn't want to. But the others, they ate it like that. And yeah.
Oh, the many discerning tastes of our dogs.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Oh.
God. Yeah, but do it. And yeah, people do it. Okay, I don't think there's any more question. So we're going to wrap it up. Again, thank you very much for tuning in. Absolutely love doing this. And I think I will do another one next year. So I don't know if it will be the same dates, but probably around that. Around spring is good. And thank you very much. And I hope you enjoy this. And if you have any feedback as well on any session or anything, please do share it because we love to hear feedback and what you think. So thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. I'll talk to you tomorrow by email and have a lovely Friday evening. Bye.